Hey guys, if you haven't already, give the video a like, subscribe to my channel. This is a what if series and I'll be doing more down the road. Plus Ultra!
Hey guys, and welcome to What If I Was in Dragon Ball. Now, let's just say this as I'm gonna say I was born on planet Vegeta, and I started off in the Saiyan army, and I've also been trained my ways to get up the ranks, but I've also been learning attacks very fast and learning how to proficiently aggressing my strongly of like aggression level, not aggression level, progression. I was progressing very, very fast. I was known as a strong Saiyan child, often known as the Saiyan prodigy of the Saiyan race. The prodigy of the Saiyan race, let's say it like that. And my skills were often talked about throughout the Saiyans with a bit of people like unheard of people hearing about this like Saiyan prodigy. Frieza would come to the planet and he would ask for this prodigy, and knowing that he wants to kill this prodigy, I wasn't there because I was off training with the Yardratians and training with the Namekians. So I spent most of my time training there, as I told my mother and father that I would spend most of my time training with the Yardratians and the Namekians, as because I want to learn some of their attacks, some of their stature, some of their techniques and skill sets. I wanted to get used to how it feels to just be off planet and to visit other worlds and how they live and how their lifestyle is. To just be away from that savage lifestyle, as I didn't see it was for me. The savage lifestyle of a Saiyan, it wasn't for me. So yeah, that much is said. And as for my power level, I would say my power level right now, I am 6 years old. I'm going to say my power level is at 2000 right now. So I'm basically training as hard as I can to get the strength up there. And I would often be training with the Yaraj Radians and the Namekians, like I said. Then I would spend most of my time there with them. I would learn that Planet Vegeta got blown up by Frieza because he was too scared of a Super Saiyan rising, and I would vow that I would become a Super Saiyan one day. And even though I don't know what a Super Saiyan is, I would say I would vow to become that someday. Anyway, so everything would go to normal, and when I get done training with the Yardratians and the Namekians, I would go to Earth, and that would be my last visit, as I would meet Goku, and the Dragon Ball arc would go the same as it did in canon, as I really didn't change much there, as I wasn't with the team very often, because I would go off and do my own things, as I don't want my story to tie in with their story, because I only want to have my particular story do its own unique thing. This is where I would meet a particular female called Lunch, and we and her would grow romantically with each other. And this is around the time I'm at the age of 15 years old. And Goku would be like at 12 years old. I'm older than Goku, so Goku would be like at 10 years old right now, and I'm at 15. So this is where me and Lunch would grow romantically with each other, and the years would progress on with everything being normal. We're now going to start the Dragon Ball Z arc, where me and Goku are just meeting for the first time ever, because we were flying and he happened to be on the flying Nimbus carrying Gohan, and I say, "Oh, so you had a child? What's your name, little one?" And he would get behind Goku and say, Goku would just smile, and he would say, "His name is Gohan." And he said, "You have a child too." And she would just come out from behind me and say, would start flying herself and say, my name is, and I'm gonna leave that to you guys in the comments. What should my daughter's name be? Think of a good Saiyan name for her, as I can't really think of one, but you guys can have that opportunity, as whatever name seeks to strike my interest the most, I will choose that name for part two. As this is going to be an ongoing series, if it gets enough attention, I'm going to release part two by tomorrow. And this is basically going to be going through the whole entire arc of Dragon Ball Z. And I'm basically going to be starting Super if I get through this series as a whole, if I like the way the series is going. Anyway, so my daughter would come behind me and she would tell her name to Goku and Gohan. And I'm gonna leave that to you for you guys to decide. And my daughter would say, "So what's your name, Mister?" And he would say, "I'm Goku, and it's nice to meet you." So we would go to meet Master Roshi and all them, and everything would play out the same way because I trained with Master Roshi when I was little. But it's gonna be mostly portrayed as flashbacks. I don't know if you guys watch Naruto, but they were very akin with flashbacks. So it's basically going to be akin with flashbacks and some goofy moments and stuff like that. So me and Goku would go back and meet Master Roshi, and we'd be very keen to having this reunion, as we haven't seen them in a while, and I haven't seen Goku in a while. And this is where lunch would come in, and she would sneeze, and her yellow haired form is what. And about that, I haven't basically stated that I'm a Saiyan, right? And you know, Saiyan values strong-willed women, right? So at first, I wasn't attracted to lunch. Like, she didn't seem to interest me at all. But when she sneezed, it's like all that went out the window. Like, I like her blonde haired side. I like that version of her so much better than I like her blue haired version, because her blue haired version is so caring and calm, but her yellow hair version, well, her blonde haired version is just so fierce and feisty. Yes, I'm a Saiyan, and I like that fierce and feistiness. Anyway, so now we're continuing, and this is where this Saiyan would appear, and he would look at us and say, "So why haven't you all destroyed this planet? Especially you, Kill." And I would look at him and say, "Oh, so if it isn't Raditz, I wonder, out of all the planets you could have sold off, when you're serving that bastard, that bastard that's called Frieza, I wonder why a Saiyan such as yourself is serving him. You could have joined us. You could have had a better life than living that lavish lifestyle with that." This is wasting a lot of brain cells, isn't it? Talking to you is wasting a lot of brain cells. So, Raditz, let's just get to the point. What do you want? Well, I'm here for my brother, and knowing that you here, which I didn't have any information on, I'm gonna be here for you too. I want both of you to join me. Only after you destroy every human on this planet. And I would instantly say, no, I'm not doing that. And why would we join you when we have everything here? I mean, why would I leave Earth knowing that I have a wife and a child to look after? And basically, like that just doesn't make sense. And if you guys want to know, you already know what I look like as a 15-year-old, but that I'm now grown, as my 15-year-old arc didn't really happen, but you're guys basically going to see flashbacks of that. But in those flashbacks of me being like a 15-year-old and growing in strength, this is me right here. This is how I'm going to look as a child. But as I grow up, my hairstyle is going to change and my costume design is going to change. And it might be a period of times where a flashback, like say when I get to Super, this is the outfit that I'm going to switch back to. Anyway, so we're just talking right now, and Raditz was just telling us, and we would instantly decline his offer with him telling that Goku is a Saiyan and he's from planet Vegeta, with Goku already knowing this and me basically explaining this to him. And for instance, Goku hasn't chopped off his tail, and I also still have my tail. Gohan still has his tail, and my daughter still has her tail. So yes, we're Saiyans with our tail still. And I often told Goku about the Super Saiyan and stuff like that. So yeah, Goku would know about Super Saiyan, he would know about stuff like that, but we haven't been able to access it yet. As I'm not gonna say that me and Goku haven't seen each other in a while. It's only like been 2 months since we've seen each other, but Goku and me have been constantly training with each other. As I've told Goku that I was known as a Saiyan prodigy, and right now I would say I'm around like, I was 15. So I'm like 3 years older than Goku. I say that because I'm 3 years, like 10, 11, 12, 13. So I would say that, yeah, I'm 10 years, like I'm about 5 years older than Goku. 5 years max. Because at the time I was 15, Goku was 10. And we would still be friends and everything. But now that Goku's 20 years old or something like that, I don't know what age he was when it started anyway, but let's just say he was 20 years old. I'm now 25. So yeah. Me and Goku has constantly training with each other, because I would often tell him that I was known as the Saiyan prodigy of the race, and even entitled that I would be somewhat the strongest Saiyan ever if I was to train and get if I was to hone that I was a prodigy and train like hard and rigorously, yes, I would be known as a Saiyan prodigy. And I took advantage of that. And my power level would jump from 6,000 as when I was 15, because when I was when I was 6 years old and my power level was 2,000, when I got to 10, my power level jumped from 2,000 to 4,000. And when I was 15, my power level jumped from 4,000 to 6,000. So yeah, that much. So by the time I reached 25, my power level reached 35,000. And I'm not even saying that as a stretch. I'm just saying that to be completely honest, that my character and my character alone has spent years and years training and has not been a slouch. Even just like training with his daughter, and his daughter gets some incredible buffs from this. As his daughter is at a power level that he was at when he was that age, and her like, well, she's younger than him, so this his daughter is at a power level of 6,000 when he was only at a power level of 6,000 at 15. So his daughter is more of a prodigy than he was. So now that Raditz is there, my daughter sees this guy as a bad threat, and before he could instantly grab Gohan, or because Krillin was coming up to basically talk to Raditz and everything, and he instantly gets hit by Raditz's tail. And this is what throws my daughter into a frenzy, because she likes to fight strong people and say, oh, this guy is strong, and she punches Raditz in the jaw using her ferocious strength. Now I'm telling you, this girl has some hits in her like power, because I've been training with this girl for all my life, and I would know how my daughter fights. So she instantly hits Raditz so hard in the jaw, and it sends him flying back. And Raditz is shocked that this kid has that kind of power. And this is where I say, get him. And she charges up her aura, releasing more power. And I would say this boosts her power to about a 7,000. And she rushes at Raditz, and those two would get into a scuffle with each other. And she would say that, you really are strong. And then she would get serious there and sending off more attacks at Raditz. And Raditz was getting serious too. He instantly kicked my daughter back, and she would go skip rocking across the water and come flying right back at him, delivering another punch to Raditz jawline and sending him flying in deeper into the water. And this is where my daughter would just be laughing and saying, wow, this guy is very weak. And I told her, don't let your guard down. Anything could happen in a fight. Remember what I told you. Always keep your guard up. Don't be like this guy. And Goku would look at me and say, what, me? I've never let my guard down like that. And I would say, Goku, it's been countless times where I've seen you just let your guard down. This has happened against Demon King Piccolo, and this has also happened against Piccolo Jr. And Piccolo would be like smiling, saying, yes, that is true. You have let your guard down before. That's the reason you had got that massive hole in your chest. Do you remember? And Goku would just laugh and say, oh, yeah, I remember that. And I would look at him and say, how did you find that funny? So I would instantly tell my daughter to stop. And I would reveal that I'm stronger than Raditz. And I tell him that if you don't want to die, you would leave this planet. But then I also think of a conclusion that, what if we had a whole army of Saiyans? What if we could become what Frieza feared mostly? And I would tell Raditz, do you know anything about a Super Saiyan or how to become a Super Saiyan? And this would intrigue Raditz to saying no, but I heard there was a legend of a Super Saiyan a long time ago. And this is where I would get into a talk no jutsu with Raditz and tell him that it's more to being a savage. Don't be fueled by your pride of being a Saiyan and being strong or following behind a false leader. I don't know if you serve Frieza or Prince Vegeta, but whichever one you do serve, you should be for your own self-interest. You should be for your own person. Raditz, you shouldn't serve people. You shouldn't serve people like that. You should be for you and you only. You should be able to seek out and enjoy life, make friends, meet new encounters. Like make new encounters or meet new encounters. You never know what you could find throughout your life. You shouldn't spend most of your life being like you are now, because to be honest, it's not going to get you anywhere. And this would absolutely work to make Raditz turn his life all around. But this is where we would get into talking about what the Dragon Balls and all that kind of stuff. As the Dragon Balls, well, we would talk about that, and Vegeta and Nappa would overhear this, and then they would say they're coming to Earth under a year. And this is where we would all go to train. Me and Goku would train with King Kai, and Raditz, he would come along, but Raditz would come along with us because he had a whole life-changing moment, but he also wants to see more of what I can do, as he hasn't seen me power up or show my true power towards him. But anyway, so me and Raditz would be basically training, like me, Raditz, and Goku would basically be flying towards King Kai's planet, and once we get there, let's say this before I say anything else about that. Kami, he went to King Yama. That's what his name is. He went to King Yama, and Yama told him that it's okay for these guys to go train with King Kai. Just make sure it's okay with King Kai first. And King Kai said, wow, 3 new people to train? I don't mind, as long as they can get past Nick Way. And me and Raditz and Goku would instantly get past Snake Way with the amount of training that we do. But I mean, not Raditz. I'm saying with me and Goku, yes, we get past Snake Way, but we often had to carry Raditz most of the way because he hasn't had as much training as we had, let alone me in general. I would often have to carry Goku too because he often ran out of power and had to run most of the way. So yeah, that was starting off to be more training for me as I had to keep afloat for at least 2 days carrying these two. So that just says a lot about what I can do. So once we got to King Kai's planet, it hit me. It hit Goku and Raditz even harder, but it hit me to the point I was still standing, but the weight was intense that I could barely even manage to stand. I didn't fall to the ground like Goku or Raditz did, but I was still standing. And I said, Jesus Christ, this gravity is heavy. I'm surprised I'm still standing at this. And this is where our training would commence. And if I haven't told you before, this is what my outfit looks like. As I'm now grown up, I'm more skilled. I have the black pants, the blue belt, the gloves, the shoes. Just imagine that they're black, and my hairstyle is more changed than it was when I was younger. And this is what I look like now. So now that I'm more keen to training on King Kai's planet, me and Goku and Raditz have gotten used to it, and we often start training together as we're growing very, very strongly. We're growing very, very proficient with each other and learning new attacks and stuff like that, and often getting control, like trying to master this Kaioken thing. So when King Kai teaches us, I get the gist of it, but Goku and Raditz seem to struggle with the technique at first. But me, I instantly power up to Kaioken times 2 and saying, so what is this power? Is it like a multiplier or something like that? And King Kai saying it's somewhat of that, but it's taxing on your body. And I look at him and saying, well, I don't feel any tax. And King Kai is very interested in me, let alone, and he asks me, well, how far can you go with the Kaioken? I saying I feel like I can go higher. I instantly access Kaioken times 10, and I didn't feel any. I just feel a slight strain, but nothing too much, like nothing threatening or nothing like stabling me. Like the strain was almost like it wasn't even there. And I would like fly around in Kaioken times 10, punch, kick, and all that. And King Kai would be amazed that I'm even handling Kaioken times 10 with only just seeing the technique at first. Yes, I can jump to Kaioken times 10. Kaioken times 10 ain't shit to me. So when King Kai tells me to go further than that, and I went to Kaioken times 15, and instantly I start to feel strained. It started to get harder and heavier for me, but I mostly started focusing on training to get to Kaioken times 20. So I kind of did separate training from what Goku and Raditz did because I told them that it's more proficient for brothers of a family bloodline to train together as you can grow more faster than that. And I often told Goku, remember that back when we were young and I told you about Zenkai Boost? Yeah, take advantage of that. As I brought a few Senso beams, I had like 10 Senso beams, and I told them to take advantage of beating each other to a bloody pulp. I knew that Raditz was stronger than Goku was, so I told Raditz to take advantage of that, push each other to near limits of death, then eat these. We eat one of these, and then beat each other to near death again, and eat one of these again. So that would be most of the training that we would do on King Kai's planet. And when the training commenced and we were done, I would instantly be able to master at least Kaioken times 25. Now, Kaioken times 25, I would get a strain, like a huge strain, but Kaioken times 20, it wouldn't be that much. But Kaioken times 25 was just too taxing on my body. But that even says a lot to what I can fucking do. Like, Jesus Christ, this guy has already got to Kaioken times 20. And he's not suffering from strain, but when he gets to Kaioken times 25, that strain hits his ass real quick. Yeah, that's what it's going to be like. So now that we're all trained up, with Goku barely being able to get to Kaioken times, 4, and Raditz barely being able to handle Kaioken times 5. So he can handle Kaioken times 4, but barely being able to handle Kaioken times 5. But King Kai would look at me and say, you're some kind of prodigy, aren't you? You're able to manage to handle Kaioken times 20 and even go up to Kaioken times 25, while I don't recommend it because it hurts your body. But still, in such a short time, like under a year, which would have took most trainees under a year to master, you did it like it was just a piece of cake. And I would look at King Kai and saying, such a skill like this is not even that hard to master. I remember when I was back in the Saiyan army and we would do a flashback to me training with Nappa. I would look up to Nappa as sort of a mentor for me, as he often spent time training me and honing my skills to make me into a battle smart warrior. He often spent most of his time putting his attention towards me than other cadets, as he seen that I was a Saiyan prodigy and he knew that someday I would be strong enough to overthrow Frieza. As when the Saiyan planet explosion happened, Nappa really didn't have any contact with me, as he didn't know where I was. I cut off contact with the Saiyans and Frieza Force, as I wanted to be my own person. I didn't want to be hound up with them. And I told mother and father that I would return someday. Rest someday, I hope. So, with all that being out the window, we now flash back to the present, and me and Goku and Raditz has just arrived to the field with everything playing out as normal. And my daughter was there. She was helping out as much as she could, but it wasn't due to nothing because she was on the ground. But we basically, the same thing happened with Nappa, with Goku basically hitting Nappa in the back. And this time I would save Nappa from Vegeta's explosion. I would save him, jump right in front of it and block the explosion. And I would catch Nappa and throw him back down to the ground. And this is where I would look at Nappa and give him a talk no jutsu and tell him that you remember when we were younger. Well, when I was younger and you would often spend more time training me, how did you get to being this savage or brutal? This is nothing like the Nappa I once knew. You were a mentor to me, so what happened in your lifetime to make you like this? And Vegeta and Goku would go off and do their battle fight thing, as Vegeta got mad that got in his way from killing Nappa, and he would try to fire a blast over there, but Goku would intervene and tell Vegeta that your fight is with me. We're both fighting now. And Vegeta would say, oh, Kakarot wants to fight me? Well, come on then. I'm more of a challenge for you, possibly being stronger than you since you're a low-class Saiyan. And they would often go off and do their battle thing, and me and Nappa would just be sitting there talking, and me and Nappa would be sitting there talking, and Raditz would go off with Goku, as he's going to act as support if Goku gets in trouble with Vegeta, but he's not going to intervene with a one-on-one battle with two Saiyans, as it's against their pride. But me and Nappa would catch back up on old times, and I would talk no jutsu Nappa, and he would have a life-changing moment, possibly going back to the way he was. We would even kick off a few laughs, even saying, remember that one time where I pranked King Vegeta? And he got so mad that he threatened to send me off to planet Vampa, but really didn't. King Vegeta always seemed to value you, didn't he? Well, King Vegeta had a heart on him. I mean, he wasn't so ferocious, but when me and Vegeta, I guess Vegeta really didn't like me back then, because he often said that even though I'm a prodigy, I won't never make it as a Saiyan elite. I guess that was Vegeta's princial, whatever that word is, however you say that word. I guess that was his pride, I guess. But King Vegeta was so much of a joy to be around. He wasn't so eagerly or kingly or something like that. He wasn't so boldly or aggressive as he was back then. I often liked pranking King Vegeta, but he was also a kind-spirited Saiyan. Something I wish most Saiyans had a candle of, but anyway, the whole planet is dead. So me and Nappa, I give Nappa a senso beam. He stand right up and he's saying, so what's that beam called? And I say it's a senso beam that heals all your injuries up. You should have gotten an incredible Zenkai boost from that. As Nappa feels the Zenkai boost and his power jumped from at least, what it was to at least a good 25,000. Jesus Christ, Nappa really not catched up, he just jumped from whatever power level he was at before to a 25 power boost in just that few seconds. So Nappa just got a Zenkai boost. So everything plays out just as normal, with my daughter chopping off Vegeta's tail, and then my daughter and Vegeta getting to a big scuffle, a battle. And this time I didn't intervene. I didn't want to intervene, as my daughter she was getting into a scuffle, but then because she ate a when she ate a senso bean, she instantly got a Zenkai boost from that. So her and Gohan would be battling off Vegeta. Goku would be battle damaged and on the ground. Raditz would be trying his best to help his brother out because he had got battle damage too. But when Vegeta turned into a grade 8, it was only so much he could do as he couldn't get to Vegeta's tail. Yajirobe was tried to cut off Vegeta's tail, but Vegeta he missed only because my daughter was trying to ward off the big ape from crushing Goku, and she was gathering Vegeta's attention more often than usual. Vegeta found her to be a nuisance at that. Found her to be a nuisance. And me and Nappa, I told Nappa that I'm not going to intervene in this battle. And he just basically sat down and we just talked for the rest of the fight. As the battle concluded with my daughter going over to kill Vegeta. She was ready to kill him. And I stopped her from delivering the final action. And she looked at me with an angry look and saying, "Father, what are you doing? This guy has beaten us. He's killed Yamcha, killed these. You can't be that kind-hearted to know that these animals just what they did." Nappa would apologize for all the actions that he's displayed on Earth and saying that whatever punishment he has, he so-called deserves it. And I said that everyone deserves a second chance. No one is ridiculed out of a second chance. I know that Tien got his arm chopped off. Chaozu exploded himself. Yamcha died, and Piccolo died along with Kami. But we have a chance to bring these guys back. I look at Raditz and I say, you said something about Piccolo being a Namekian, so I'm strongly guessing that there's a planet full of these similar creatures, just like Piccolo is. And he said, Raditz would reply with, yes, it's called Planet Namek. And this is where it intrigues me, and I would ask Raditz, do you think they have Dragon Balls there? And they would say, yes, I'm pretty sure they do, as I don't see why they wouldn't have Dragon Balls. And this would intrigue us to a fact, but all of a sudden we weren't paying attention to Vegeta getting in his pod and leaving. And, well, I just basically said, just let him go. He's not going to cause any more threats. I mean, he's leaving because he admits defeat, so pretty much that's saying a lot. So all that would play out is normal. Goku would be bedridden. Nappa would already have a senso beam because I gave him the last one. I was sorry because I didn't think. I was caught up in the moment of meeting my old mentor, so blame me for that. So everything would play out as normal, and I would go get more senso beams, give one to Goku with Gohan, my daughter, as I want you guys to give me a name for her in the comments. I'm not even going to stress that enough. I want you guys to give me a good Saiyan name. I don't know which one to think of, but a good Saiyan name. Anyway, so Gohan, my daughter, Bulma, and Raditz would all go along with them to Planet Namek while leaving me, Nappa, and Goku behind. Oh, yeah, Krillin with them too. So Krillin with them too and everything. So leaving me, Goku, and Nappa behind. I was waiting there. So I was often training and doing more me and Lunch, we had a big house just like Bulma did. Like a big house just like Bulma did because I was doing more saving, I was doing stopping crimes and more things around the city, and often asking people saying, "Oh, this is going to be a price. This isn't free." Yeah. So I began I'm rich like Mr. Satan. So yeah, my family is pretty well established, and my daughter has a good education as she's become very smart. So she's going to spend more time training with me as our house is in the east city. It's in we have this big area where the East City, and it's known as Keel's Corp. That's what it is. And what we basically do is just create battle Saiyan armor. That's it. Came rich of, we mostly create armor for the soldiers and stuff like that. Creating armor good unique armor, stretchable armor, wearable armor, bulletproof armor, stuff like that. I became not me. I'm saying that let's say Launch had a father that became rich by creating armor, and I've helped him with my studies of Saiyan armor. I'm saying, with my studies of Saiyan armor, let's say Launch had a father, and me and him would often create these kind of armor that help soldiers in battle, and we became very rich off that, and we turned it into an establishing company, a design. Anyway, so back to the main story. That would be our house, and I would be mostly training there, and I would have my own kind of chamber, as I told Launch's father that, So I met like on. So my Lunch's father would be more like Bulma's father. He would also have a lab coat on, and he would also be working on very different other projects. And he would also take inspiration from capsules. Like we would have a lot of those because we would like capsule corps and how they put like design things in capsules. And basically, if we put like press it, it comes out and explodes into this big ass thing. So we often like that too. So he would be making more designs, but not like that. He wouldn't be stealing their ideas or something like that. But I would tell him that could we like create like a gravity chamber, like a gravity room where I can increase the gravity and get stronger. And he would say, I don't see why not. Pretty much easy. And this is where the gravity chamber would be complete. He would build it for me, and I would be waiting until Goku and Nappa got recovered. But I would instantly learn that Karin had some more sensor beams because he told out to me, and I would instantly transmission up there and get the sensor beams, give one to Goku and give one to Nappa. And this is where I would tell the two that Bulma and them are building a space pod, a spaceship for us to get to Namek. I think we were going to basically have like 7 days to get there, so we can spend all 7 of those days training, and not all 7, 6 days training, and the last one resting. So that's what we would do, and Bulma would have the ship prepared for us, and we would have a gravity device in there that we can up the gravity on. And this is where I would tell Goku and Nappa that we have to get very, very strong. So it's not like I'm leaving Raditz or Vegeta in the dust right now. It's just that Nappa, I told Nappa to stay behind because we had some further catching up to do. And I wanted to get Nappa more akin with the Earth lifestyle. As in Raditz, he already had a year to get akin with the Earth lifestyle. And he would also be talking with me and Goku during the training when we were with King Kai. So he would have an idea of how human life is and how peaceful it is to be around Earth. Anyway, so everything would play out just as normal, but the only difference is now Nappa is on the team now, but we just now need to get Vegeta, and along with these 2 other mysterious Saiyans, and I'm pretty sure you know one of them being Broly, but the other being Vegeta's brother. I have to find them. I don't too much know about Broly. I mean, not Broly. I don't too much know about Turbo, but I know more about Broly, as that's something that was kept in the Vegeta's family royal bloodline, and that wasn't too much out there, so I wouldn't know about that. But as far as Paragus and Broly, yeah, I knew about that because Broly had an over high power level and sent Broly off planet. But I think King Vegeta didn't send him to a remote planet like Vampa. I would say King Vegeta sent him to like a good flourished planet. It didn't have life on it like per se, but it was a flourished planet. So Broly would grow up in a good environment. Also, it had a 20 times gravity, so it was pretty heavy for them to get accustomed to. But they managed to. Anyway, so now that we're done with all that explaining, me and Goku and Nappa, we get on the ship and we start training, and we start a departure. We start vigorously training hard training. And I'm talking about hard training. As I didn't really state to how much the Kaioken gives me a boost, but I'm going to keep that under wraps. So let's say after those 6 days of intensifying training, we rest for the 7th day, and then we arrived on planet Namek with everything happened as it did in canon, with Vegeta struggling against the Ginyu Force. Basically, all of them struggling against the Ginyu Force. Me, Goku, and Nappa stepped out of the spaceship. I'm sorry, I stopped there, but we stepped out of the spaceship because I had a brain fart. And we're now looking out when we sense like power levels diminishing, and we rush over there as fast as we can, with me punching Raccoon in the stomach. I mean, I hit the first person I saw that was doing the most damage, and he was the first person that was there. So I punched him in the stomach, and he fell to the ground. And Goku looked at me and said, "You didn't even give the guy a chance." And I looked at Goku and saying, "He's an enemy. He doesn't deserve a chance. He doesn't even deserve to live." And I look at my daughter, and she was on the ground scuffling. "Father, you made it." And we give we give Gohan, my daughter, and we give them all a senso bean, right? And we give Vegeta one too. He's there too. And now we fight the rest of the Ginyu Force with Jace running off being scared, but I instantly teleported in front of him and I kicked him down to the ground. And I tell Vegeta I look at Vegeta and saying, well, should we kill him or interrogate him? Vegeta instantly thrusts his hand and killed Jace without any questions, and I just look at him and say, well, kill him, I guess. Anyway, this is where Captain Ginyu would come out to see his whole entire Ginyu force annihilated, and I would say, oh, I remember you, Captain Ginyu. I often don't like you because you always try to get me in trouble with Frieza. You would often try to get him to kill me. And this is where Ginyu would see me, and this is where he would get scared. As the power levels that we're at right now. So I took advantage of those Zenkai boosts in those 6 days that we trained. I took advantage of having those Zenkai boosts. So each Zenkai boost that I had, my power would increase. So would Goku, so would Nappa's. So we would also get a dramatic power boost with Nappa's being at 350,000. Goku's being at 500,000, and mine being at under 1 million. So basically 900,000. So yeah, incredible gains from just 7 days of training hard, vigorously, hard training. Yes. Mine would be at 9,000, and Nappa's would be at 350,000, and Goku's would be at 500,000. So yeah. That Captain Ginyu wouldn't be able to do shit with us, but he would look at me and he would sense fear, as I always taunted and was able to outskill Captain Ginyu. As he didn't have too much skills, he would be stronger than me and often get the upper hand over me. He didn't seem to switch bodies with me, but it was to the point where I outskilled Captain Ginyu. Was the reason why I survived in the Frieza Force for so long, because of my intensifying skill and the technique to adapt. I would say the design to adapt to any opponent that comes my way, or something like that, I can say. Anyway, so we would continue on, and this is where we got the Dragon Balls, and this is where the encounter with Frieza would happen. So no Goku getting his butt bleeding or nothing like that. So we would get around to the point of using the Dragon Balls, and we would only be able to use like 2 wishes out of the Dragon Balls, and this is where we would revive Piccolo. And I don't know what the second wish was used for, as I didn't pay attention to that. But the second, we would revive Piccolo, and Piccolo would come to Namek, and he would fuse with Neil. Oh, so that's what it was. Revive Piccolo, bring him to Namek. Okay, I get it. So then that whole arc would go the same way, with Frieza getting very angry and flying over to us to meet us. The first person that would battle him would be Vegeta, and Vegeta would lose, with Frieza transforming into a second form, and then he would battle Piccolo, with Frieza being backed up into a corner and transforming into his third form, and this is where he would get the upper hand over Piccolo, damaging Piccolo. Then Ted would come over, heal Piccolo, and this is where I would come into the mix. Well, not I come into the mix. Goku come into the mix and instantly bodies Frieza's third form. I mean, like, I wouldn't say easily. I would say somewhat easily, like him and Nappa was teaming up on, because I wouldn't say body. He's in his third form, so that's over high power level. Him and Nappa was teaming up on Frieza's third form, and Frieza felt a little bit overwhelmed, but not too much, as he said, I have a fourth and final form, and he transformed into his final form that we all know and see Frieza as throughout the series. And this is where I get intrigued. Frieza's power level is high, and this is where I'd say, you guys, let me handle this. I want to take on this Frieza guy. And this is where me and Frieza would get into a stare at each other, and this is where we would be fighting. And we would often be fighting with Frieza trying to get like a sneak attack on me, but I instantly uppercutted him, kicked him in the stomach, and punched him through 3 boulders or 3 rock areas, basically crashing into the ground and creating a dust cloud. Frieza would appear off the smoke and brush himself off, and saying that, I haven't been phased like that in such a long time, monkey. And I would look at him and I would say, hey, Frieza, do you know anything about a Super Saiyan or how to achieve that form? I really don't know too much about it, but this would intrigue Vegeta. And he would say, I am a Super Saiyan. What are you talking about? And I would look at Vegeta and say, Vegeta, you're no Super Saiyan, because if I'm correct, the Super Saiyan is set to be a legendary warrior with power unrivaled by just a base Saiyan. That's what comes to me, that what comes to my beliefs, that a Saiyan, a Super Saiyan is like a transformation of sorts. If only I knew how to use that transformation. But while I'm in my thoughts, I get cheap shotted by Frieza. And this is where me and Frieza would get into our scuffle. And Frieza's saying that he's only using like 10, I think he said 10% of his power or something like that. And this is where I tell Vegeta, like Frieza, whoa, you're only using 10%. Well, I'm only using 5% of my power. And but like Frieza would get like a vein in it, he would see like he get a forehead vein. I'm stuttering a lot. Frieza would look at me in pure anger and saying, "Are you mocking me, monkey?" and rush at me. And this is where Frieza would boost his power level to boost his power to say 50. He would be at half power, saying he's at 50%. And this is causing me to do some kind of effort. Now I am trying against Frieza, and Frieza is getting more agitated that he's being on like having to use this much power against a monkey. And I instantly use Kaioken times 5. Now I'm on par with Frieza. Not like I'm on par with Frieza. My power level has shot up to at least 2 million. And me and Frieza are going at it. We are throwing hands, basically punches and kicks and everything. And Frieza gets angry, and he instantly goes to 100%. I'm not saying his full power buff form or nothing like that, but he instantly goes all out in his small form. And me and him are battling it out and scuffling. Frieza's throwing punches, blasts, and everything, and I'm doing my best to counterattack those blasts and keep it from hitting other people and stuff like that. And me and Frieza are I'm battle damage, and Frieza is too. And I'm breathing heavily. I'm at Kaioken times 10. And the Kaioken, I'm gonna say this right now. It's not like it's basically putting my power up there. No, it drains energy and stamina real fast. Not real fast to the point where I'm not saying I'm like completely mastered the Kaioken. I can get to Kaioken times 10 and times 20. So I instantly saying I can't keep this up for long, as it is straining my power a lot. So I instantly power up to Kaioken times 20, and I hit with like Frieza with a ferocious amount of attacks. Punch to the stomach, punch to the jaw, a knee to the face, grabbed his leg, and I slammed to the ground, and I sent out a ferocious amounts of blast. And then I powered up a Kamehameha wave, and this Kamehameha wave would be purplish. It would be a purplish green, and it would have these black shocks around it. And I want to say, "This is it for you, Frieza." And I would say, "Kamehameha," and I would charge it at him, shooting the blast that engulfed Frieza. He tried his best to push it back, saying, "I'll send it back." And then I let off a huge burst of energy, powering up to Kaioken times 25. And now I felt the strain, and my muscles start to hurt. And Frieza was overwhelmed by the blast, sending him directly into the water, creating a big hole that the spirit bomb created. And then I fell down to the ground, and I was exhausted after using up all my power. That was too much for me to handle. As all the like Piccolo and everybody would be in scuffle with Vegeta being there, saying Vegeta would come to me and say, "What's this about this Super Saiyan?" Because Vegeta wouldn't be dead or nothing like that, because he didn't get the chance to fight Frieza in his final form. I did. So all of us would be there, and we would be talking and everything, but we wouldn't know how to trust Vegeta. But I would basically give him a talk no jutsu. That would make Vegeta turn out too. Now we got Vegeta on our team, and Vegeta would be basically questioning me about what do I know about the Saiyan, and I just tell Super Saiyan, and I basically just tell him I don't know anything about it. I'm trying to gather that form. This is where we all get scared, and Krillin would look up after he's holding Goku by his arm, because we were battle damaged. Frieza was beating the shit out of us, but he would be holding Goku by his arm, and this is where Goku would grab Krillin and grab my daughter, lift them both in the air, and he shoot a hole in Piccolo's shoulder, basically knocking Piccolo out, I think. Yeah, and he would grab both my daughter and Krillin, and we would tell Frieza to stop. Me and Goku was yelling at Frieza, begging him to stop. "Don't do this. What are you doing? Let my daughter go. Don't do this, Frieza. Put Krillin down." And both of them would be extended in the air, and they both would explode with my daughter saying, "Daddy!" and Krillin saying, "Goku." They would both explode, and our eyes, we would be shocked. We wouldn't know what to do. We would be angry. All we would feel is anger. the water would start to rise. The water would start to boil. The clouds would start to darken as thunderstorms formed around the area. Me and Goku would be increased in anger. We would be getting mad, angry, and more angry as the rocks would start to float up in the air and the ground would start to crack at the pressure of our aura rising. Our muscles would start to bulge with the veins showing, and our eyes would glow, just turn pure white as we're getting angrier and angrier. Our hair start to flash from black to yellow, black to yellow, black to yellow, and we would just be getting increasingly angry as this yellow aura enveloped our body and we exploded with power. And now to Frieza's eyes, he looks down to see two Super Saiyans, something he's feared. He says, "What? Saiyans only transform into great apes. What is this? This is nothing I've heard of." And this is where I come to the conclusion. So, this is Super Saiyan. This is what this power is called. Super Saiyan. I knew it had to be a transformation. I didn't know you had to achieve it with anger. I looked at Frieza in disgust as I was so angry with him. He took something away from me that was more close to my heart. He took my daughter. Frieza had to die. Frieza could no longer exist in my book. I didn't want him to exist. Me and Goku were pure angry as Frieza then said, "Who should I kill next? The child?" And Goku would instantly grab his hand. And I wouldn't hesitate. Soon as Goku grabbed his hand, I punched Frieza dead in the jaw. And he flew across the field through 3 boulders. Goku would counterattack with a kick to his back, sending a shock wave of pain throughout Frieza's body. And then I would appear in front of him and punch Frieza in the stomach, grabbing his tail and swinging him around back towards the water in the earth, sending out a huge gust of water everywhere. Frieza would emerge out of the water and he would be battle damaged, and he would look at me and Goku in pure anger. And this is where I would say Goku would give off his speech and we would both yell at the same time, "We're something you fear the most. We are Super Saiyans." And me and Goku would power up and charge at Frieza, doing a meteor attack on Frieza, delivering various amounts of attacks, blows, kicks, punches, blasts, ki blasts, you name it. Frieza could not counter attack. He could not do anything against 2 Saiyans. Frieza, and he buffed up. We let him transform, as I wanted to see if Frieza could be a match for a Super Saiyan, but as soon as we let him transform, it was proven to be little to no effort to beat Frieza. Frieza ended up getting sliced in half by his own attack, and he didn't manage to get that whole "I'm gonna destroy this whole earth, destroy this planet" thing. Nah, he didn't get a chance to do that because I blocked that attack and sent it right back at him. Now Frieza is even more battle damaged than he was in the original canon. Now me and Goku are looking at Frieza as we are now battling him very effectively. Frieza ended up getting cut in half by one of his attacks, and this is where Goku gives his energy, and I would say that, "Goku, you're too soft. Why would you give energy to this trash?" And I would blast Frieza away, disintegrated. Frieza is dead now. He's no coming back. No coming back. Frieza's dead. So anyway, that's pretty much it and all I got for you guys for today. As I wanted to clear out the Dragon Ball Saga, it's going to be flashbacks of my life in the Dragon Ball Saga. Cause if you guys are similar with Naruto, that's how the flashbacks are going to be. It's going to be throughout the period of lifetime. Anyway, without any further ado, you guys have a good day, a good night, and you already know the deal. Plus Ultra. Good night, guys.